Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Multi-Meal Magic, where we prep one ingredient and turn into multiple meals. Today we're prepping chicken stock from scratch, and we're going to turn into Asian noodle soup, chicken noodle soup, and chicken fried rice. For the chicken stock, we're going to start with the whole chicken and carrots. To prep, we're going to wash the carrots, cutting off the ends and removing any brown or soft spots. For the chicken, we're also going to remove as much of the skin of the chicken as possible. I just use my hands, but you can use poultry scissors or just leave it on if touching the skin grosses you out. We're going to need a large stock pot, and we're going to lay all the carrots on the bottom of the pot, breaking up the larger pieces so that they all fit. You can adjust how much carrots you want to use. I don't mind using more rather than less because I also have a dog, and these carrots will go into her food later on, so nothing is going to waste. Adding more carrots will make the stock sweeter though, so don't go too overboard. After we lay the carrots on the bottom, we're going to put the chicken in, breast side up. Now if you're using a whole chicken, you probably have a bag of giblets inside the chicken. I'm going to just throw the neck bone in with the chicken. And here we have the heart, the liver, and the gizzards. If you aren't a fan of organs, you can leave all of these out. Out of all of these, the liver has the strongest gamey taste, but the heart and gizzards will really just taste like another piece of chicken after we boil them, so I'm gonna throw all of them in as well. After we added all the main ingredients to the pot, we're going to add enough water to the pot to cover the chicken fully, add our seasonings. Here I'm using a combination of Goya's Total Seasoning, Jane's Crazy Mixed Up Salt, and just a bay leaf. You can use whatever herby mix you have or prefer though. This will also work perfectly fine with the Italian seasoning, Herbe de Provence, or you can even use individual herbs and spices like basil, rosemary, thyme, onion, and garlic powder. But add your spices, and then we want to bring everything to a boil over high heat, which can take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And now you can walk away. You don't want to walk too far because we don't want to accidentally overcook the chicken, which can happen if you let it go on a rolling boil for a while. Once it's come to a boil, we'll turn the heat down to a simmer. I'm giving everything a quick stir here just to make sure the spices are properly talking to each other. You can probably see here quite a bit of oil has already been rendered from the chicken, even though we removed most of the chicken skin, and that's why I wanted to take it off. Now we can cover the pot and let it simmer for about an hour. Now that it's been simmering for about an hour and the chicken should be falling off the bone at this point, as you can see here, we're going to get a large heat-proof container and move the chicken as well as the solids to that container. You can also strain out the solids if you have a large strainer. Just make sure you do it over a container for the stock and not a sink. We're going to remove the chicken from the bone next, but before that we're going to put it in the fridge for about 20 minutes so that it cools down a little. For the stock, you can actually cook it a bit more with the bones after we've separated the bones from the chicken, which I'm not going to do today. At this point, you've extracted some flavor from the bones, but you're not going to extract much more from another hour or two of cooking, especially if it's just the bones from a whole chicken. Quite a bit of flavor that's in the stock now also came from the meat, and while we can extract quite a bit more of the flavor from the meat if we wanted to, that would really overcook the meat and make it flavorless, so we won't be able to use it in any other dish if we do that, which is a bad exchange in my opinion. So now we're removing the chicken from the bone. Aside from the container that the chicken's in now, you can also see 3 more containers. One is lined with a Mylar shipping bag for trash, one is for the meat, and then one is for any tendons, ligaments, carrots, or any small pieces of meat that I'm going to put aside the streets for my dog's food. And we're just going to go ahead and separate all of the chicken into these 3 containers. While I'm doing this, I also wanted to point out that you can absolutely use chicken leg quarters or chicken thighs to make this stock if you don't have whole chicken handy. That'll also give you more meat, but a lighter stock at the same time. I would not use just chicken breast though, more than likely you'll just ruin the meat and the broth will still be tasteless, and that'll be a situation where I would just make a stock with minor chicken base and hot water. After we separated all the chicken, it's time to put the stock away. I'm using 16-ounce deli containers here, which I found to be the perfect portion for one very filling meal. I'm being a little delicate here as well because I changed my mind about cooking the stock a little more with just the bones halfway through the video, so there's still some solids left in the soup. I'm going to fill the containers up to just about the top line so the lid doesn't pop off if I decide to freeze them. Other than the dishes I'm going to show in this video and probably the next few videos as well, this is one of the most versatile bases that you can make because you can use a splash of chicken stock to add a depth of flavor to so many dishes, and the chicken can also be used in any dish that calls for leftover chicken. I was able to get 3 16-ounce containers and 1 8-ounce container of stock on top of the stock that I'm going to use for the Asian noodle soup, which I'm going to start prepping here by heating over high heat. As it gets to boiling, I'm going to turn it down to a simmer and add some vegetables. I'm using some baby spinach here because it's what I have, but Asian veggies like a bok choy, baby bok choy, bean sprouts, or gnocchi mushrooms will all be great additions here. Since spinach cooks very quickly, we're just going to blanch it in the stock and it's ready after just about 15 or 20 seconds. At this point, you should also taste for seasoning. If it's too bland, add some salt. If it's not chickeny enough, you can actually also add some chicken base like minors as well. It's totally fine if the stock's not perfectly flavorful, because it just means the flavor is being retained in the meat. After the veggies, I'm also going to poach some eggs in this broth before we add our noodles. With the stock still at a light simmer, we're going to make a little whirlpool in the middle and crack a few eggs into that whirlpool. Right after eggs go in and start to set, make sure you move it off the bottom of the pan a little because they do have a tendency to stick. And when they stick, they overcook, even when you're poaching them in a non-stick pan like this one. I like my eggs runny, so I'm going to poach these for just about 3 to 4 minutes. After we take the eggs out, we can add in our noodles. I'm using 2 bundles of Japanese buckwheat soba noodles here. You can use any Asian noodles you want, although I would recommend sticking to a thicker noodle and not a thinner one, because it's very easy for thin noodles to break down and become clumpy. The cooking time will really depend on the noodles, so start with the low estimate on packaging, and just keep tasting to make sure the texture is how you like it. Then stir with some stock, top with the veggies and egg, and voila! The first way of using chicken stock and turning into Asian noodle soup. As always, if you're still here, I appreciate your time. If you can drop a like and subscribe, it'll make my day. If you have any feedback as well, drop a comment and I'll do my best to respond and incorporate any feedback into my future videos. Thanks again for joining me on this journey, and I hope you have a wonderful day.